to you. All that I am, all that
So
I
I told a friendly
all
star,
that I am, God, I give to you.
the way that dreamers often do.
My thoughts and my mind,
Just how wonderful you
belong to
are.
eternal time.
Why I'm
My
so in
words
love with you.
My song, you're
Now I
writing
shout it from the
all
highest hill.
I know that
Even told the
when all
golden
that
dawn.
I am comes down to you.
At last my heart's an open door.
I know that it's true.
My secret love's no secret. My secret love's no secret. My secret love's no secret anymore. Hey, darling. Oh. Everyone ready? I put a copy of my CD and with the duets in this little jazz CD. It's got some amazing players on it and stuff. And a woman who sings a lot with me on there, she used to sing with me here quite a bit. Actually, she and I and Rebecca would do trios. But now she's at the big Episcopalian church downtown. She's got a little girl who's almost 3 now. Oh. is right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We can put it next to Lori.
Yeah, or have Lori hold it. She can hold it. Yeah, thank you.
Have y'all prayed yet?
No, we haven't done anything. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Let's. Okay, you can hear me in the back. Is everybody in the back? Way back. Okay.
I'm unsure what you're asking me. I'm very unsure what you're asking me. Sonia, come on. And Kathy, you want to come over, honey?
Welcome to Unity, where love is felt, truth is taught, lives are transformed, and all is well as we express the Christ within.
Our opening song for this month has been I Release and I Let Go by Ricky Byers Beckwith, and so feel free to join in singing that. You might want to stand up. There was a time in my life, thought I'd have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the power of God was at hand. But I can say now, if you are discouraged, trying to make it through another day, you gotta let it go, let it all go, and this is what you've got to say. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Good morning. And welcome to Unity of Gainesville, Florida, this beautiful spring morning. May this service bless each of us with its message, music, and fellowship with other members as we walk this spiritual path together. Whether you are here in person or online or simply in spirit, we are indeed all here as one. One heart, one mind. This morning, we are blessed to have our musician as Kathy DeWitt. Yay! Our prayer chaplain, Dee Mitchell. And our AV team, Gabe Coleman and Steve Greeno. Kathy Tatum is our board member on duty. What did I say? Oh, thank you, Kat. I love that. Jackie Tatum is our board member on duty. You just saw her. I am delighted to announce that Reverend Betty Martin Lewis, our minister of record, is continuing to focus on this month's theme, forgiveness, in a talk entitled, Release Your Baggage, Forgive Yourself. My name is Rupali Robinson, and I will be guiding us through the sacred morning. Reverend Betty?
So we'll take a moment of prayer now and remember that we are all one together in congregation this morning, in community this morning, so we welcome all those on Zoom to join us in prayer as well. So just taking a deep breath now, relaxing into the allness, the sacred oneness, infinite spirit. We are so grateful to be gathered here this morning. Our hearts are just filled with gratitude for this beautiful community and our knowing and affirming that we are all one in God and God is in us. And we call forth the divine power of peace this morning, peace for our world, and comfort for those who are in any kind of conflict or war situation anywhere in the world. We're sending love and peace out into the world this morning. And our prayer is that all of us, each of us, feels a part of the human family, recognizing that God is within each and every one of us, no matter what name we give to God or what our concept of God is. We accept all paths to God and know that as we come together in community, the human community, the human family, that we can rise above strife and fear, anger. We are powerful. So we claim this power this morning and feel the peace in our hearts being sent out all around the world. God is good, and we are good. Amen and amen.
I'm pausing because I am so grateful that I am here today. I am so grateful that we are here today. And I'm so grateful for Reverend Betty's last two lines. All is good. We are good. Today is our big annual congregational meeting. So please, please, please stay. We will indeed break bread together first. We wish that you let your voices be heard in this meeting, and we only have one. Annual means one. We review last year's accomplishments. We envision next year's. And we do the business of approving the revised bylaws, voting on a new board member, and our yearly budget for 2022, and formulating the beginning of our next year's nominating committee. All these are ways to manifest this greater vision of ourselves and this church. We envision funds to restore the Truth Tram, our golf cart, and if you haven't seen the sign out there, it has flashing lights that go all the way across the line because our church administrator, Gio, announced mid-year, hi Gio, she just walked in, that we got the goal of $975 received, and this morning got the last $1.25 to make it a complete package.
Wow.
We are so grateful for our members' valuable and generous donations. So, so grateful. And now, of course, as soon as we have some good come in, we're going to ask that folks volunteer to sign up as drivers. The Truth Tram is used to assist people to get from the parking lot to the door, and that's difficult for some. And of course, it would mean as a driver you would come at 10:30 in the morning, a little bit earlier than service time. And I do really want to bless Gwen for her great ideas about the Truth Tram. For the name was her inspiration. And I feel strongly that her creative talent manifested in that poster board, drawing attention to this vision, fueled its fulfillment. So again, and there is indeed a new offering starting March 6th, a Unity Grief Support Group with Jackie Tatum and Phyllis Shepard facilitating at 12:15 in the sanctuary. It is in support of anyone who is experiencing grief in any way and would like a safe and loving space to express their feelings or simply rest in being part of the group's energy. Also on that day, March 6th, is the ongoing offer of professional haircuts with Harrison. Harrison, would you stand up for us? Harrison has over 30 years experience, and he is generously offering the cost back to the church. And please remember always that prayer is an essential practice in Unity, and so that after our service, always first, there is prayer available. And it is here in this little room that we're now calling the library. And now I would like to honor Sonia, Sally, Travis to read the daily word.
The word of the day is comforted. The affirmation is, I am enfolded in God's comforting peace. The scripture of the day is, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Matthew 5:4. I like to travel through life lightly with a happy heart, and sometimes I am laid low by a seemingly insurmountable obstacle or loss. I understand that painful periods visit everyone occasionally. I open to my feelings of sadness and sorrow and seek comfort of God's presence in myself and in my loved ones. As I become willing to embrace my feelings while I process my pain, I trust I will be comforted. Pain has come to pass. God's love and strength remain and will be with me always. I am grateful for the encouragement of friends and family. Their loving support comforts me, even when no one is by my side. I know I am not alone. I find comfort in the Christ's presence within me. I move bravely through the pain, enfolded in the comforting peace of God. The word of the day is comforted.
I put out a song sheet for folks, and I figured if you're in a twofer seat, you can share. If you're not, you can have your own copy. And this is a song we used to sing a lot at Unity. I'm not even sure where it came from, although the composer is noted on the sheet, Alice Altink. And you'll probably recognize it when you hear it. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me, nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I am. I love myself just the way I am. I love you just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. If I feel love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So tell the world of peace on earth that only love can bring, and I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. I will only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. Yes, I love myself just the way I am.
Thank you, Kathy. I've forgotten that wonderful song, so it's really nice to hear it again. Well, I'm so grateful to be here again. 2 Sundays a month, and it's just a blessing to be with this beautiful congregation. And I always just feel your energy, and I just feel so lifted by this beautiful, beautiful aura you have. So I'm grateful to be here, as I say. And you know that this month, all month long, we've been talking about forgiveness and how important it is as a spiritual practice. Something we need to just keep in mind, practicing it all along. Even every day we can find something to forgive. And also to forgive ourselves. And that's what we're going to focus on this morning. So our affirmation for this morning is I am ready and willing to forgive myself. So let's test that out, how that feels. Let's say I'm ready and willing to forgive myself. So now just lightly close your eyes and whisper it to yourself. Hear your inner voice, that voice within speaking to you. As I say the affirmation, then whisper it to yourself now. I'm ready and willing to forgive myself. I'm ready and willing to forgive myself. I am ready and willing to forgive myself. So capture your thoughts right now. What are you thinking right now? The heck you are. Yeah, I hear my little voice. Yeah, the heck you are. I still feel guilty. Okay. And how did your body feel when you said that? These are all part of the practice, right? Becoming just more aware that we have a human self and we have a human personality. We have a human ego that wants to protect us. And that human ego isn't sometimes a forgiving ego. It wants to protect us. So it has a role in our life. But what we want to do is we evolve spiritually. We want to transcend ego. Go beyond. We want to go to that space within where we know we are divine creations. That we are spiritual beings having this temporary, earthly experience. We are eternal life in temporary form. So I read about an author one time had a metaphor for forgiving ourselves or forgiving in general, but I always remembered that I can't quite cite the person who I read this from, but it's like carrying on our backs, a backpack full of heavy stones, heavy rocks, just fastened there on our backs. Can you imagine in your mind now? Just imagine you're carrying this backpack. It's pressing against your spine. It's pulling on your muscles, and it follows you. It's there throughout your day. Can you imagine all the little routines of the day with this heavy backpack on? If you've got stuff you are hiding that you don't want to face, that you've pushed down into your subconscious, that you're not yet ready or willing to forgive, think about mowing the lawn when you've got a backpack weighing about 50 pounds on your back. Think about washing the dishes, what that'd feel like, cleaning up the kitchen, Think about picking up your children or your grandchildren. Got this 50-pound weight on your back, right? How light on your feet are you going to be if you go dancing? Yeah, you're going to have some joy, but it might not be the fullness of joy, right? Or here's a good one, running through an airport to catch a plane with another sack on your back and you're rolling your suitcase in front of you. Yeah. So it's really important to forgive ourselves, because when we're holding unforgiveness, it clutters up our consciousness. It constricts our mind. It cramps our body. And it constricts our overall well-being. And it's such a subtle process, we hardly notice it, And so then we don't really get the fullness of our joy. And we're really not even getting the benefit of releasing through the grieving process and letting go process, because if we can't face some of this, then it just hangs around, takes up a home in our consciousness, right? So our ego, it doesn't readily like to confront these issues we have sometimes. So I thought I would think about, for myself, and always when I do a talk, I always have to, practice what I speak, and it's so amazing what came up for me this week about things I could forgive myself for. So I was thinking about You know, way back in the ancient times of the Greeks and Romans, there were these moral principles that were established by some of the philosophers, and then they came up through the Christian teachings about. And those of you who have a strong traditional Christian background probably recognize the 7 mortal sins, right? Now, remember, in New Thought and in progressive spirituality, the word sin we interpret to mean, it comes from a Greek word that meant something in archery where you miss the mark, you miss the target. So we all miss the target once in a while. We miss the mark. We think we're aiming right, and then it goes off, right? Or it also might mean error, just error. So if we think of, you know, and in fact, some of those lists say the 7 deadly sins, right? There are different names for the list and different, but you know, there are, across many religions, there are these sort of a set of errors that we want to avoid as humans. And yet, it's part of the human condition. We make mistakes. And so we just need to know that it's okay to make mistakes. And that we really don't have to ask God for forgiveness. You ever think about that? We don't have to ask God for forgiveness. There's nothing to forgive in the eyes of God. We are all one in God. And we're having this temporary earthly experience where we don't know why, but we've been given like human personalities. And so these errors, these mistakes, these things we've done in the past are usually coming through a personality that has been wounded in some way, all of us in some way as we were children, because we couldn't really understand, you know, the world of the adult world. And then some of us went through huge trauma as children that it takes years and years and years to work through. So we've all got our things to work through, to release. And so let me just go over these list of the 7 of the things that as human beings we tend to fall into once in a while to some degree, right? Envy, the first one, envy. Have we ever been jealous of anything? I couldn't believe I actually used the word jealousy a couple weeks ago. I don't even know where it came from because I don't usually use that word at all. And I was invited to come visit with some friends of mine who have sold everything they had, bought a $175,000 RV, and they're living a life of freedom. They're hitting the road, and they are loving it and going from place to place all over the country. They're originally from Melbourne, over across the state, and they also have some property in Colorado, so they started going back and forth as snowbirds, and then they just decided they're going to go where the wind blows, where they are called to go or whatever they want to do. And boy, are they doing it in luxury. So I had never been in one of those ultra luxurious RVs. And I'm sitting in the big captain's chair with oh my gosh, that felt so good on my back. And it was beautiful leather and it was so cushy. And, you know, and I know my friend, it's a couple, and the guy was, I know he must have felt like a pilot because there were so many controls in front of him. It's like his cockpit right there. He could just drive all over the country. And then she could recline in her recliner on the other side. And it was just like, oh, okay. And the sides go out, you know, and it looks as big as a home. It was just really an amazing thing. And I just said, oh, I'm so jealous of you. But I was also thinking of their lifestyle, too. We all wish for more freedom, don't we, in our lives? So I thought, wow, okay. But you know, then reality sets in, and I think that's probably not the lifestyle I would really enjoy, because where do they pick up their mail? You know, all these like practical things I was asking, you know. It's like, you know. Anyway, gluttony. Oh my goodness. So, what is your drug of choice? Mine's chocolate ice cream. Oh my. And I feel guilty every time. I know sometimes I need a lift if I let chocolate ice cream come into my freezer because, I try not to even have it in my house. I'm almost like addicted to chocolate. So, we've got, that's being overindulgent sometimes. And so sometimes that can get us in trouble when we're overindulgent. And I know that, too much cream and sugar is not the right kind of thing for our bodies. So, I'm always feeling guilty if I do that. How about greed? Greed, taking more than your share, or stepping on other people, or demeaning other people so that you can get what you want. How about lust? I mean, that's around desire, right? Either dangerous or unrealistic desire for something. And so that can lead to addiction. And pride. And this is one, quite frankly, I have to watch out for. Sometimes I can be proud. I can be self-righteous. But I know that about myself now because I've accepted, just like everybody else, we have a shadow side that creeps up every once in a while. It's that ego trying to protect us. And I know my self-righteous voice by now. I'm so grateful. Right? I think my husband used to call it the teacher voice or something, but there was a word for it, that voice, or, has anybody ever said the mom voice or the, you hear different things. So, okay, so, and then wrath, anger, some of us overreact. And we know we've got something to forgive. If we lose our temper completely, we know we've got something to forgive in us. And then this one is just rampant in our culture today, apathy or feeling of alienation or just outright boredom. That's an error in thinking. It's an error in consciousness when we feel separate, right? Because we are never separate from the truth of who we are. We are of God. We are in God. God is in us. And when we face the world from that consciousness, anything is possible. So when we are in a state of drama or overreacting or judging others or trying to control others, and again, I think all of us to some little bit can relate to any of these, right? Then we want to get in touch with that and let it come up so that we can then forgive it, let it go. And so I have in a handout, which I thought I had kept a copy. I know I kept a copy. Okay, where did I? Well, I have one over there. All right, so you have your handout, right? And so those of you on Zoom do not have one, but I'll walk through this. We have 6 steps now to self-forgiveness. So the idea is, it is important to forgive ourselves. We know why it's important to forgive ourselves. How do we do it? How do we do it? So I'm going to walk you through these 6 steps, not 7, 6 steps of self-forgiveness. So the first is to identify and acknowledge any feeling of guilt or blame you're carrying in consciousness. Now, feelings are like the canary in the coal mine. Feelings, if we're in touch with our feelings and we wake up feeling yucky, or for some reason during the day, we just had a phone call or something, and all of a sudden we're just feeling off. We're feeling either anger or this alienation or this fear or we need a vocabulary around our feelings. We need to identify our feelings because then they help us lead us back to the thought behind the feeling, the thought or the belief behind the feeling. And so that's how you begin to identify any guilt or shame that might be lurking in your consciousness that needs to come up. So we want to transcend our ego and identify what we need to forgive. And if we're serious about it, we set the intention to do that. I know I sat down in my meditation chair this week And I got in touch with something I did when I was back in my 20s that I know I have pretty much done the forgiveness work, but I must have a little shame still because I'm not sure I want to tell the whole story to anybody. But it was kind of a mean-spirited thing I did to somebody that, and it was silly when you really look at it in different ways. I was living in Tunisia, North Africa. I was in the Peace Corps way back. And there were German Peace Corps members in this little village we were in, and they were doing a public health program, and I was working in a little kindergarten with Arab children. And one of the German Peace Corps volunteers she was very particular about food, and of course we met up with many different things to eat on our plate than we were used to in terms of American food. So this German woman said she would never eat camel. Well, that was a staple in the little butcher shops that we would go to. You know, it's nothing like a supermarket. Believe me, we're in a village near an oasis, near the desert, the Sahara Desert. And so we would get whatever protein we could, and so I ate camel. It tasted like chicken to me, or beef or something. You know, it actually was quite good in the stews we'd make. But we did need protein sometime during the week. So I made up a stew with camel and fed it to her, even though she said she would never eat it. And that was really mean of me to do. But I have to forgive myself because I was 22. And I did what I could at that time, you see. But it's interesting that memory came up for me I hadn't thought of that memory for 20 years or more, I'm sure. So we will be shown what we need to release. You know, and I'm glad that I can accept that, yes, I met my shadow, and it's okay. I made a mistake. I missed the mark. I forgive myself. So the second piece is the decision to release the power of that memory to affect your life today. See, that's when we overreact, when we get triggered by something that happened years and years and years and years ago in our childhood. Or we come in touch with somebody that reminds us of that mean uncle or aunt we had, or you know, and then they're long gone, but the scar is still there. The trauma of whatever happened in childhood could be triggered by what happens in our current world. But if we can get in touch with loving ourselves, forgiving ourselves, it's so much easier to release it and know what that was then, this is now. I'm a spiritual being. I can disassociate from those past traumatic memories or those times when I wish I had done better. I did the best I could then, right? Number 3, remember who you really are as a spiritual being. Because when you recognize that you are pure spirit in the truth of the matter, the truth of who you are is love. God is love, and we are love expressing in the world. We are God's love expressing in the world. So keep identifying yourself as a fountain of love that once you, and it's your decision to turn the fountain up higher and higher and higher and higher by releasing all those obstacles that kind of reduce that ability to express it fully. So we remember who we really are as a divine creation, and then we activate that power of love in us. Remember, divine love is not just willpower or human love. It is a sacred energy, a healing energy that we can call upon to have it flow through us. And so I keep saying, practice this on the small things, when you get small irritations. Just keep practicing, spreading love into the world. And then number 4, find any learning or good that may have come from your experience. And so, like in processing what I did as a 22-year-old, the good is that now I have compassion. I understand if I'm going to honor someone's beliefs or requests or whatever. So when I think back, I even remember her name. This is years ago, and her name was Ruta. And I asked Ruta for forgiveness this week. And I know that wherever she may be, if she was German, so she lived in Germany, maybe she'll still be able to hear or connect with some of the vibrations I'm sending out, asking her forgiveness and also forgiving myself. There's power in this practice. And so I feel more compassionate having had that experience and admitting to myself that I have the capability of being mean-spirited. See, I have to accept that in myself as a human being. But when I am focused in love, that's not even an issue. So 5 is, again, send love to the ones that you may have judged or offended or hurt. Even if it was just a harsh word, keep practicing on the small things. I once heard that Oprah, when she met the Dalai Lama and was interviewing the Dalai Lama, she said, you're always preaching love and peace and all of that. So is there any time you ever think you offended anybody or hurt anyone? And so she asked him a direct question, and he had to think a long time. And then he said, well, a few times I inadvertently killed a bug here or there. And she went, a bug? So, yeah, we work for purity of spirit, but, we still may kill bugs here or there, but that would be our goal, to do as little harm in the world as possible. That's our goal. Spreading love, do less harm. Okay, and then celebrate. Oh, yeah. You do these other 5 steps, then you can begin to feel a sense of freedom. When I got up from my meditation chair this week, I just felt, wow, reconnecting with that old memory was healing for me. And I am grateful for it. And I still can, affirm that I am a good person. And that's what each of you need to do every day. I'm going to give you a challenge this week. Every day, look into the mirror. Everybody brushes their teeth probably in the morning. Look in the mirror. But don't look at the wrinkles. Don't look at the freckles. Don't look at the flaws you think you'll see in the mirror. Look deep into your own eyes in the mirror and see spirit. See the face of God smiling back at you, and say, I love you, to yourself. At least once every day, okay? You really take on that challenge? At least once every day. Love yourself. Do it more. Do it more than once. But at least once a day. Celebrate who you are. And then do loving self-care. Think of something every day that makes your heart sing. Whether it's gardening or taking a walk or just being in the silence, listening to bird song. That thrills me. The birds are coming back. It's spring. Oh, I love to hear the birds singing. Do some art. Take a bubble bath. Go play in a mineral pool or something. Think of something every day to give yourself self-care and love yourself. Release those stones and have a wonderful week ahead. So it is. All right, so let's hear, Kathy, you want to play us into a quick meditation, and we'll be closing.
Oh, so wonderful. Some of you probably know the Ho'opono chant, and the one that I put to music, some people remember. People use different words for the English one, English words. But I like these words because I think I just put them together, and it seems to be a way which you can forgive the other person, but also take your responsibility for your own part in it and forgive yourself as well, and ask for that forgiveness from yourself. Ho'oponopono, 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 Ho'oponopono. You can keep singing the Hawaiian words there, which means do the right thing. Or you can use the English words, which are, I love you, I forgive you, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you, I forgive you, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you, I forgive you, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you, I forgive you, please forgive me. Thank you. Ho'oponopono, 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 Ho'oponopono. You hum it.
I love you. I forgive you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I forgive you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Thank you. And I forgive myself for anything I may have done in my life. I acknowledge that was then. This is now. And I realize that I am a spiritual being filled with spiritual power, aligned in God. All things are possible. So imagine now that you are forgiving yourself and just bathing yourself in self-love. Imagine that you're embracing yourself, mind, body, and spirit, appreciating all of you, your humanness, and your spiritual self. That you are powerful beyond measure, and that love is the answer to everything in your life. And so, in your mind's eye, now hold an image of yourself as a light bearer of love into the world. See yourself glowing from the inside out. Things that seem so heavy to you in the past can be released, let go of. You are pure and good. You are the truth in spirit. And see how you stand and how you move and how you speak in that consciousness. Claim your spiritual power. And so as we go forth now, we would continue to hold a prayer for peace in the world so that all sentient beings are aware of this amazing spiritual power within. See our human family joined in oneness and in love. And feel the vibrations of the earth dancing with joy as we all proclaim peace on earth. And so it is. Amen and amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Betty. I'm just so grateful for the practical steps that this church represents. Unity represents practical Christianity in the world. And here we have an amazing thing that just allows us to take it home. And if we choose, practice it. If you haven't noticed the graphic, I just want to speak one. I am the love I seek. This is our time that we embrace the principle of giving. This congregation has been doing so generously. Recognizing the power of giving is a reciprocal process, one that benefits both the giver and the receiver greatly. So please take the offering in your hand, or imagine it if you have already electronically given, or perhaps you've placed it in the basket at the entrance there. Repeat after me. Divine love expressed in me, through me, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I feel that this prayer that we have been speaking each week has indeed helped us affirm the continued growth and prosperity of this beautiful ministry. So please just simply Hold these words in your heart, perhaps for yourself and your own lives. Practice it throughout the week. It is on the website. Unity of Gainesville, Florida is richly blessed in the flow of universal abundance. We give thanks that just the right people with loving hearts and skills help us and are attracted to join us. We accept the good that enriches us and all with whom we have contact. We are prosperous, loving, and healthy, joyfully co-creating an abundant life. And now Miss Gwen will be coming in and perhaps showing us what they have learned.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
He said he was going to share with you what we were talking about today. Let's see. What were we talking about today?
Peace.
Well, we did several things where we were peaceful, and then when we were not peaceful. Then next, we had a story today, and it was called I Am Peace. And next Sunday, we're going to continue that. We learned all about peace symbols. Okay, Resin, he was going to do you peace out.
Peace out.
But I have one quick thing I'd like to share with you that you may not be familiar with. We have another epidemic, and it's the symptoms of inner peace. Be on the lookout for symptoms of inner peace. The heart of a great many have already been exposed, and it is possible that people everywhere could come down with it in epidemic proportions. This could pose a serious threat to what up to now has been a fairly stable condition of conflict in the world. Signs and symptoms of inner peace is a tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than on fears based on past experiences. An unmistakable ability to enjoy every moment. A loss of interest in judging other people. A loss of interest in judging self. A loss of interest in interpreting the actions of others. A loss of interest in conflict. A loss of ability to worry. Frequently overwhelming episodes of appreciation. Contented feelings of connectedness with others and nature. Frequent attacks of smiling. An increasing tendency to let things happen rather than to make them happen. An increased susceptibility to love extended by others and the uncontrollable urge to extend it. Here's the warning. If you have some or all of the above symptoms, be advised that your condition of inner peace may be too far advanced to be curable. If you are exposed to anyone exhibiting any of these symptoms, remain exposed only at your own risk.
And now we simply rub our hands together, and we simply, if you would, stand up, because after this we're going to move into a large circle around and complete this service with our two songs, the peace song and speaking the prayer of protection. And at this moment, let's just... We love you,
You really, really love you. Mwah.
Take it the shortened version here. And now, just come into circle with us. If you wish to keep distance, you may. If you wish to wear a mask, you may.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment, live each moment eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God is over us. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well.
Join us outside for prayer. Join us outside for food.